Okay, Friday, August 26th. This is some pre-opening comments on the SPY index. About an hour and 15 minutes to go before the open. We'll look at the pre-market overnight action. We'll again just recap what we're kind of what we've been following all week and kind of what scenario or scenarios are unfolding. I will go over the potential up scenario, and then I'll also show you some down scenarios that you want to keep in mind as well. So that's the thing. You can never predict. You have a bias. Certainly you have expectations given what's up on the chart, but those can change given price action. So let's just get to it pretty quickly here. Again, the big green day yesterday, this is a daily chart, so we are expecting a little follow through higher. But let's keep in mind we're still in a gap here, and I'll show you in a second some alternative scenarios where A, we might not even go higher, and B, if we do and fail, what could happen, and how even though you look like you had a nice big rally today, maybe that's what that really was, at the moment until we see today's action. That was just broadening action of this one big red bar on Monday. We kind of took the low of that bar and then we took out the high of that bar. So this is kind of a compounding broadening action of this one bar. You can see down and then to the upside, new low, new high. So sometimes with broadening action, you immediately kind of head down and broaden to the downside. And that's what may be developing since you're in a gap here. So keep that in mind. But we're going to start with a bias to the upside. And we're going to continue our thesis, so to speak, that we could be reversing the week. We kind of, after 3 days, moved up, turned this weekly bar green, and it looks like we could be getting a shooter bar that doesn't reach the target into a hammer bar. But the signal itself on the weekly chart only takes place if we break the high on Monday. So whatever this day closes to, wherever this week closes to after today, we'll have to even. Let me put it this way. Let's say we close green like this, then the signal to go long to hit those targets is into next week. So let's say somehow we turn green, but then on Monday of next week or Tuesday, we stay inside of this bar and the whole week becomes an inside bar. We never break that high. Then we never really get a signal to reverse, and we could be getting, let's say, a 2 down, maybe an inside week. And then a weekly, a 2, 1, 2 to the downside. I mean, I'm just going way ahead here and just showing how until you get that follow through to the upside next week, no matter what forms this week, it gives us an indication what might be developing next week, but we really need to see the signal. So we're and today's still Friday. We don't even know if this is going to close green. For example, on today, using the same logic, let's say, you can see, well, let's get to because it's interesting when you look at, again, the overnight act or the pre-market and overnight, where the key levels are, and that kind of guides us as well. So when I look at the pre-market here and the overnight action, I now draw my general line. Some of these are bad ticks. That happens all the time on this thing. So anyway, you just got to kind of judge. Like even this last tick is not really where price is. Price is a little lower here at the moment. I don't think it really went up and down that much. But generally, you can see here's the range. So I'll keep that in, as the day starts. So the high of the overnight pre-market action is near the highs of yesterday. The low happens to be right again at the opening of Monday. So if we can break below this area today with a red bar heading lower and follow through and sustain down there, we are also now keeping this week red as anticipated. The only thing is, obviously, we're running out of time on Friday, one day of the week, to really get down to our targets that we were talking about earlier in the week. But that doesn't mean we still can't close red, a little pause bar, and then continue, maybe at the halfway point of whatever this bar is lower next week. So again, this could be a bit of a deceptive kind of bar that we're really at this moment forming that hammer. We haven't done it yet. It's starting to form. If we could follow through the upside, it's more likely it is forming and we head higher. But again, everything, you got to wait till this is the interesting part where we come to the end of the week, the time's running out to reach that target. You're starting to form a reversal, but it's not quite there yet because you need A, for it to form a hammer bar, and B, for it to follow through on Monday. So there's still a lot of time to go for things to happen to really be strongly biased to the upside. But as of now, big green day, we're going to look for a continuation higher, see if that develops. For that to happen, that opening price action will have to move above yesterday's high, and then hold there, and then have a good some kind of pattern like we talked about yesterday, where you kind of break through that first bar that sets the tone for the day, or first couple of bars you could have a red to green move here. We're in this range, so you could take out stops down at the bottom first, kind of hold the halfway point of yesterday, then start up. There's a bunch of ways we'll go over that at recap or maybe in a morning video kind of thing to show you how the open develops. But anyway, we're going to monitor these highs and lows. Highs continue higher, maybe forming a hammer bar on the weekly chart. Lows actually kind of reverse this whole broadening action over this first bar. Possibly we'll be breaking below the weekly open again and turning this red if we can, start lower today. So we'll see what happens. And then quickly, I look at a lot of the stocks pre-market, and I see a lot of them are starting a little lower on the day, from their yellow line, lower here on Snow and Apple. Meta is even down a little bit. So everything, Microsoft's lower. So I see a bunch of stocks are kind of, Netflix is a little lower. So, we could be just, like I said, that could be a broadening day to the upside, fooling everyone, and then we start back down. We'll watch the lows of all those stocks together and see if it breaks lower, or is this just a great buying opportunity on a continuation higher that sometimes I love when I'm strongly biased to the upside and we kind of have a little bit of a pullback pre-market, because I know that gives me the opportunity to get in long on an opening price action before the highs of yesterday are met, and then we continue. If you look at a daily chart on any good high, you start at the halfway point of the prior bar and then really potentially get green. Like here's a bar that started halfway point to this bar in an uptrend, and then you got in somewhere near the open and you had all day to go up. So even though you open a little lower from the close, well, this one gapped up a little bit, but here's an example where, green bar up, you open a little maybe lower, you went down first, and then you get the great entry to kind of give you well, even this one gapped up. So anyway, not the greatest example. Yeah, green to green, this is the type of thing. Open here, maybe one a little lower, paused, and then, you get in long and you have the rest of the morning to kind of take out that either first or secondary move to the upside, close near the hop. So this is the type of day we're looking for today if it's going to be a strong day to the upside. So let's see where it opens. Let's get back to the 15-minute chart again, weekly chart. We're going to end up this week, today with a hammer that could at least lead us to believe we're following through higher. But again, keep in mind, the scenario where you wouldn't follow through higher is, let's say we close green. Who knows, maybe you end up with a 2-bar fit. Maybe the first day of Monday you go up, it looks like you have a signal, and then maybe by Tuesday you have a big reversal and you cross the midpoint. It's a very small bar. That could be a 2-up failure into next week. So again, if it turns, green, you're going to definitely expect it to be heading up all week, but don't, given the small nature of the bar, be aware of any possible reversal. Or you could just start inside of this bar, and maybe then it's a question the week after, do you go up or down from there? So, a lot of things still unfolding, but we're coming to the end of the week. Fridays are always an interesting day in that sense. And again, the monthly chart, just to follow up, this is also a very small bar that's not following through all that much. So that's why we're always wary of the fact that maybe we're just pausing here at the end of August and going to be heading down as well, even though we're green at the moment. But again, a very strong week, let's say today and then into next week, strong green week could really turn that scenario around. So a lot of things unfolding. Just watch how it opens. Keep these two levels in mind here, and we'll look at the opening price action.